What you see here is the first step in becoming a stem cell donor, a cheek swab to collect saliva. This way, my data ends up in a registry and I can be found if someone needs my stem cells. Yes, so into the tube and then off to the post office. So if your child or you as a teenager need new stem cells, you've probably pretty quickly had the next thought. Who could actually be a stem cell donor for our child or me? Yes? Not everyone can donate to everyone else, and with that, we're already right in the middle of the topic. How does the search for a suitable stem cell donor work? And how exactly are stem cells actually donated? So how are the required stem cells collected? Let's start at the beginning. It's important that the donor and recipient are as genetically similar as possible, right? Otherwise, the foreign stem cells would be immediately rejected by the body. By the way, blood type doesn't play a decisive role in this. What's crucial is that certain tissue characteristics match in both people. These are called HLA markers. HLA stands for human leukocyte antigens. HLA. You can imagine them as tiny shapes, like our toy blocks here, that form patterns on the cell surface. So, I don't know, for example, somehow, let's put it this way, they're combined in completely different ways, so it's very individual for each person. This individual pattern allows the immune system, the body's own defense system, to distinguish between its own tissue and foreign tissue. So, you are looking for a donor whose pattern matches that of the patient as closely as possible. Yes, and that can be in fact a little bit like the famous search for the needle in a haystack. But it is still possible to find it. First, doctors will look for an HLA match within the patient's own family. The most likely perfect match is among siblings. The chance here is about 25%, or 1 in 4. But why is it that sometimes a sibling is a match and sometimes not? I'll show you now in a roughly simplified way. So let's break it down. Here we have the mother and the father. These are their characteristics. They're here and here. You can more or less see it. So these are the parents, right? Let's say father and mother. Each child receives half of the HLA characteristics, one half from the father and the other half from the mother. So let's take an example, like this, like that. Now you can see it, right? Of course, in reality, there are many more, but for now, it's just about showing how it actually works. So which of these are inherited is completely random, right? The first child, for example, can get exactly these building blocks from the father and mother. The second one could get exactly the same ones, so they would be, very similar, right? Or it could also happen that by chance it doesn't get those, but these here instead. Yes, that's different and doesn't match. Got it, right? So it doesn't match like this, but if the other child is like this, then it will match. So if no suitable donor can be found within the family, a search for an unrelated donor is initiated. For this, donor databases in your country are searched first, and then also worldwide for suitable candidates. The more people participate and register, the better, right? That's why we do this swab. To give you an example, through the databases, a suitable match is found for 9 out of 10 people in Germany. So, that it just fits together. By the way, as someone who is willing to donate stem cells, it's completely sufficient to be registered in just one donor database. You are then automatically entered into a central registry where everything comes together. Yeah? It's actually pretty simple. Ask at your ward for the bone marrow donor registry in your country. Links to world donor registries are below the video. Unfortunately, one still has to bear in mind that it can happen that no fully compatible donor can be found. But it is also possible to perform a haploidentical stem cell transplantation. Haplo means half, right? That means the HLA characteristics of the donor and recipient only match halfway. That's the case, for example, with parents. In the past, it used to be that there were often severe rejection reactions because the body recognized the transplanted stem cells as foreign. Thanks to improved procedures, nowadays parents can also be considered as donors. Another option can sometimes be a public donation campaign like the ones families occasionally start, right? Maybe you've already come across this on social media or in newspapers when there's a call for people to get typed. But fortunately, for those affected, this is usually not even necessary, since the worldwide search in donor databases is actually successful in most cases. The social media campaigns are more about reaching a large number of people who participate and thus become potential donors. That's important. No matter what, the search for a stem cell donor is always accompanied by a lot of hope and anxiety. All the greater is the relief when a suitable person is actually found. Well, and then, of course, you still have to actually get the stem cells, right? Which brings us to the final question. How are the stem cells actually collected from the donor's body? There are two ways to do this. In most cases, the stem cells are taken from the blood. The process is actually quite similar to donating blood, right? However, it usually takes a few hours. But afterwards, you can simply go home again. Before the stem cells are donated, the donor receives an injection of a natural body hormone under the skin for a few days. This really boosts the production of stem cells, causing them to move from the bone marrow into the bloodstream. In a few cases, the stem cells are not taken from the blood, but directly from the bone marrow. This involves a general anesthesia and a short stay in the hospital. Good to know, the bone marrow regenerates itself completely within a few weeks. So it's all right, okay? So you can see it's something manageable for the person who donates. And for everyone who needs a stem cell donation, fortunately, thanks to extensive databases and medical advances, affected children and adolescents can almost always receive a suitable donation.